Hello, my name is Dr. Paul Cottrell, and I'm doing this recording on April 9th. And I want to talk about how to improve your health. And it's going to be very comprehensive, and it's going to be targeting multiple systems, but I'm going to try to have the emphasis on brain health, but how brain health can actually be very important for other systems and how other systems can affect the brain health. So it's all based on this book, The Invincible Brain. I have seen the actual author in person actually talking about this book and about how to improve brain function. Now, this individual, Bitchute, is an MD, Ph.D., adjunct professor at Johns Hopkins University. And he is also an adjunct professor in psychological and brain sciences at George Washington University. So the point here is that he knows the subject matter very well, all right? Now, for the ones that have been watching my show, I've been telling for 6 years how to slow down the aging process and how to improve your brain function. This book was published in 2026. It's very well cited for individuals that are a little bit more on the side of the science. You can look up some of the research papers. But the point here is it's written for the layman. It proves what I have been saying for 6 years. Now, this was published in 2026. So it's very important to pay attention to what I have to say. All right, so let's start with how the organ systems can relate to the brain before we go over the protocol to slow down the aging process, which is what I do every day to slow down the aging process, okay? Now, we have different organ systems. We'll start with the lungs. The lungs allow us to breathe. But if you have problems with lung function, if you have restrictive disease, if you have the inability to oxygenate your blood properly and get rid of carbon dioxide, if you have your blood vessels that are in an inflamed environment within your lungs, if you have the lung function declining, especially when you get older, what will happen is that you're not getting enough oxygen to your brain. And these leaky vessels, because of inflammation, because of disease, ends up letting particles and pathogens into the bloodstream, and with inflammation lead to the blood-brain barrier to become leaky, and you get inflammation and disruption within the brain, on top of less oxygen to the brain. So good lung health is very important. Trying to increase your lung capacity. Everybody's lung capacity starts to go down when we get older. If you live long enough, you will get COPD, even if you're a healthy person. But the thing is that you can, through exercises, through breathing exercises, and through certain types of supplementation, to actually improve your lung function, such as NAC. Now, what will happen when you're improving your lung function is you're improving your ability to get rid of carbon dioxide. You're also, with better lung function, you're being able to control your pH levels in your blood. And you're reducing the problems of having particles getting through the blood-brain barrier, causing inflammation in the brain. All right? Now, let's look at the kidney and the liver, because they basically, for the brain, they cause problems if they're diseased. The liver helps with detoxification of your blood, but the kidney does too. So if those two organ systems are not functioning properly, not being able to filter the blood, and the liver also produces certain types of proteins, and it also helps with cholesterol and blood glucose levels, right? It's a major important organ. If it's not functioning properly, you'll start to get more inflammation. You'll start to get toxins that are building up in the blood, misfolded proteins, and this inflammation and toxins that can't be filtered out by the liver or the kidney will end up getting through the blood-brain barrier, causing inflammation. Now, when this inflammation is chronic, you're moving closer to dementia, speeding up the process of dementia. Same thing with the lungs. If the lungs aren't healthy, you're increasing your chances of dementia. All right, now let's take a look at the heart. The heart pumps blood. It does some other things too, but the primary function is pumping blood. Well, if your cardiovascular fitness is poor, if your cardiovascular system is clogged up, if your heart's not pumping properly, you're not getting enough perfusion into the brain, enough blood into the brain to allow for nutrients in the proper microenvironment to sustain healthy neurons. And so what will happen is you might get a microclot, microbleeding, and eventually, slowly, the brain starts to die. So if you take a look at a person that has a poor heart health, and they die, and you look at their brain, you'll notice that there are microclots, maybe even a large stroke. Brain tissue is atrophied. You could take a look at someone that's elderly and has a good heart, has a strong heart. Their brain function usually is better. So profusion of the blood into the brain is super important. So cardiovascular fitness and cardiovascular health is super important to prevent dementia. All right. Now, let's take a look at, so we talked about the kidneys, we talked about the liver, the lung, the heart. Let's talk about the bones. Now, this is where research is a little fuzzy on exactly the mechanism. But it basically is that research has shown that the better bone density you have, primarily through resistance training, you actually have better brain function. And part of that mechanism is that it's creating osteocalcin. And osteocalcin helps as a secondary factor for neuroprotection. But the whole mechanism with that is still in research. But better bone density helps brain function. It saves your neurons, helps to protect your neurons. Now, I suspect that through also the resistance training, you're getting better blood flow. All right, now the musculature is a major system that, if it's improved, can help with brain function. Now, when you're exercising, you're getting better blood flow, right? When you're lifting weights, you're building up more muscle. And when you're building up that more of that muscle, you're telling your body you need more blood. And what also is happening is there are myokines that are produced. These chemicals that are produced to help build the muscle, help to maintain the muscle. But these myokines also help to protect and to increase the connections of neurons. So myokines help with building up what is called a brain-derived neurofactor, and that is helping with the neurons. And the neurons, when you have a healthy brain, will connect better. You'll be able to have better cognition. You'll be able to think better. You'll be able to sleep better. You'll have better memory. So building muscle actually is neuroprotective. So these are the main systems that you need to kind of think about. Now, let's take a look at the holistic. Now, those are the organ systems. So we know that we have to keep our liver healthy. We need to keep our kidneys healthy, our lungs, our heart, our vascular system, our muscles, our bones. And that will help to reduce the chances of Alzheimer's or other types of dementia. Now, there are many types of dementia, but in terms of Alzheimer's, there are 3 genes that people need to pay attention to. What's called an APOE gene. There's 3 types: 2, 3, and 4. Okay, EPOE 2, 3, 4. If you have EPO 2, you have much less chance of getting dementia. If you have EPO 3, that's the average. If you have EPO 4, you have much greater chance of getting Alzheimer's. All right? Now, you get a copy of this from your mother and you get a copy of it from your father. So some people can get, let's say, an EPO 4 from one parent and an EPO 2 from another parent and be fine. But there are other people with the same type of karyotyping end up getting dementia or getting Alzheimer's. So there is an environmental factor that's super important. What are some of those environmental factors? Even if you have the genetics, because you have to remember, just because you have the genetics doesn't mean you get it. All right? Other things have to happen. The environmental stressors have to happen, and the proper epigenetics have to happen to allow for the disease to take hold. All right? So the way we live, the lifestyle we live, can affect our epigenetics. If you live poorly and you have poor genetics, chances are you'll have problems like Alzheimer's. But if you have a better lifestyle, even if you do have the genetics, you're reducing the chances of the severity and potentially not having it at all. So lifestyle and epigenetics is super important. And that's what we can control. We can't control our genetics. At least, not right now. I mean, in theory, you can do gene therapy and all this stuff, but right now, the best that we can do is control the methylation of certain genes, control the acetylation of certain genes based on our environmental stressors. So the next step to this is to take a look at what can you do holistically so you don't get dementia. All right. It's about proper diet. You want to stay away from sugary substances, stay away from processed foods, drink filtered water. And when you do that, your body is getting the nutrients it needs. You want a balanced diet, protein, carbohydrates, and healthy lipids, healthy fats. I personally think that people need to stay away from a 100% vegetarian diet. I don't think it's healthy, but that's my opinion. All right. There are some people that are healthy that are vegetarians, but many people that go full bore vegetarian, vegans, they have a tendency to be, not all, but a lot of them aren't as healthy as they could be because they're missing some nutrients. All right, but there's ways around that. But that's not the average person, So just a balanced diet, proteins, carbohydrates, and healthy lipids, heavier on the protein side. Another thing is calorie restriction. Don't eat too much. Be in a healthy BMI level. And a healthy BMI level is not 24.5. A healthy BMI level is 18.5, 19, 19.5. You're getting above 19.5, then you got a problem. You need to start losing some weight. Now, the next thing that you need to take a look at is the type of exercise you're doing. You want to do more resistance training to build muscle, because you want to build up those myokines and be neuroprotective. But you're going to be able to improve your mobility, and your back posture will improve. Lymphatic flow will improve. Cardiovascular flow will improve. A lot of people don't realize that. Back muscles, proper back posture can actually affect your cardiovascular health and your immune system because of the lymphatic flow and the venous return flow to your heart. Well, if you're getting better lymphatic flow, then you're being able to flush out toxins out of your body quicker. So if you have less toxins in your body, you're going to have less inflammation in the vascular system. You're going to have less inflammation in your brain. See, everything's connected. Okay, then what you want to do for exercise, do more resistance training, maybe a 65-35 split, 60-40 split, something like that, where you are doing more resistance training than cardiovascular training. Before you're exercising, make sure you do your balancing exercises and stretching exercises. Those are really important. One, to keep the health of your joints in order, preventing injury during your workout. But you're also by balancing, you're activating that cerebellum. What you're doing is you're saying, okay, you're training your brain how to balance your body. Just like a little kid is learning how to walk. Well, when you're older, you need to continue activating that cerebellum. This is why sports are important, or walking is super important. You're moving your body, you're balancing, you're activating your cerebellum, but not just activating the cerebellum. You're activating certain areas of your brain that actually are controlling the motor coordination for your right and your left. So your cerebellum is communicating to that area too. So it's really important, balancing exercises and stretching. Okay, now, proper sleep. You want to get 3 to 5 cycles of REM sleep and deep sleep, so you're detoxifying your central nervous system, consolidating memory, and you'll be well rested, and your brain function will improve. Proper mindfulness or spirituality, that will get your body into parasympathetic mode so you're not as stressed. When you're not as stressed, you have less cortisol. Less cortisol means that you'll have a better immune system, means less damage to your organ systems. If you're constantly stressed and you have high cortisol levels, your organ systems are being damaged. Your immune system actually goes down. So if you take a look at this from a holistic point of view and you learn new things, train your brain, challenge that brain, you're actually protecting your brain. Okay, now what are some of the supplements? You have to do proper supplementation. Now I'm going to go through a lot of supplements here. But if you pay attention to what I'm saying, you are going to radically slow down the aging process and improve brain function. But not just that, you're improving your immune system, your endocrine system, your cardiovascular system, your pancreas, the health of your pancreas is super important. Your gut, all these different systems that interrelate, but they can also benefit in protecting your brain. All right? So if you take a look, just by observation, people that have poor lung and heart health, they usually have problems with their brain. And I've explained why. Okay, so let's go through a lot of the different products that I have. All right? You don't have to take them all, but the more that you stack them, the more synergistic they will be to help to improve your body, slow down the aging process, and help with your brain function. Okay, so let's start with the structural nanosilver toothpaste. The structural nanosilver toothpaste has structural nanosilver. It has no fluoride. It'll whiten your teeth, freshen your breath, bring down inflammation at the gum line, and neutralize. And by neutralizing, you're improving your oral cavity. When you're improving the health of your oral cavity, you're also improving your cardiovascular health and valvular health. If you get bacteria in or inflammation, it can cause problems with your cardiovascular system, build up plaque, cause problems with your valves in your heart. You don't want that. And like we said, if you have poor cardiovascular health, you'll eventually have problems with blood flow to the brain. So a good toothpaste is super important. And when people are in their geriatric years, their oral hygiene actually declines and they start having further problems. So it's really important to get a good toothpaste. This is the best toothpaste you're going to get. It has the structural nanosilver to improve your oral hygiene. All right. Now, Max 35 or Cleanse or Max 14, what they will do is neutralize, improve the health of your oral cavity, maintain a mucosal barrier, improve the health of your oral pharynx, and maintain the health of the epithelial cells. Now that's really important because if the cells in your oral pharynx are unhealthy and the barrier is very thin, you'll get sick more often. When you're sick more often, it takes more time to recover and to remodel your body. And everybody knows that if you're chronically sick, you age faster. So again, this improves your oral hygiene. So take a teaspoon a day every day, swish in your mouth, gargle about 20 seconds, and swallow it. And this will improve your oral pharynx and your oral cavity, boost up your immune system. It's something that I have been doing for more than 6 years. Now, the structural nanosilver soaps will help with your skin, and it will neutralize. And by keeping your skin clean and healthy, that's also helping your overall health in your body. Because if you're covered with bacteria and things that are not healthy for you on your body, then you can get sick more often. Well, you want a good soap. Structural nanosilver soaps are very high quality and they will help to neutralize. You can get it in peppermint and you can also get it in lemongrass on my store, go-studio-reykjavik.com. Now, let's talk about, lastly, the structural nanosilver gels. Now, the gels are important because they'll help with your skin. You can use them as daily skincare. You can get the tube form or the quick dispenser form. You can use it on your skin daily. If you have a cut or abrasion or a minor burn, you can apply it to that. It'll help to heal it quicker. Why? Because it keeps it clean. How does it keep it clean? Well, it's creating a barrier because it's a gel, but it's also neutralizing. Now, if you're around someone or you're not feeling well because of the cold season, you can put this on your hands, around your mouth, around your eyes, around your nose, around your ears, lightly coat your nostrils. It'll stay active for 5.5 hours. So it's really important. Now let's start talking about some other compounds here, great stacks to help certain systems. Lignans will bring down inflammation and soak up free radicals. That's going to slow down the aging process. It's going to help the immune system, the endocrine system, and the cardiovascular system. And by bringing down inflammation, you're also helping with your brain function. So remember, you don't want inflammation to build up in your brain because that's going to lead to misfolded proteins, leaky blood vessels, the flushing system as the heart is pumping blood into your brain, and there's a pulsing that helps to flush the CSF, the fluid that's surrounding your brain. If that's not pumping properly, you're not detoxifying your central nervous system. So this is another reason why good cardiovascular health is super important. So lignans will help to slow down the aging process. You take this regularly, you're going to bring down inflammation, soak up those free radicals, and it'll also help with brain function. Ashwagandha root controls your cortisol levels and your blood glucose levels. By keeping those at a normal, healthy level, you're helping your cardiovascular health and you're helping your brain function. You're helping with your immune system, right? Why is immune system so important for brain function? Well, if you're not sick as often, if you're not getting things into your blood that shouldn't be there, then you're not having problems with your blood-brain barrier. And as we get older, our blood-brain barrier ends up becoming leaky. So you want to keep the inflammation down and keep that blood-brain barrier as tight and as secure as possible. Now, vitamin B complex. If you're 40 years of age or older, your metabolism goes down. The health of your mitochondria goes down. Well, if the health of your mitochondria isn't where it should be, then you're going to be aging faster. And all these other problems start to happen. The liver doesn't work as well. The kidney doesn't work as well. The heart doesn't work as well. You have less muscle. You have less bone density. See the problem? And it all cascades and causes problems with your brain. Now, vitamin B complex, the first 4 B vitamins will help with boosting up your ATP because it's part of the electron transport chain within your mitochondria. Vitamin B complex will also help with the cellular metabolism. So your tissues will perform better. And vitamin B12 protects neurons. So it's really important. Now, digestive enzyme complex. This is more focused on the pancreas. The pancreas produces lots of enzymes to break up your food. Well, digestive enzyme complex helps to break up proteins, carbohydrates, and lipids to reduce the load on your pancreas. So your pancreas stays healthy. Clarity factor. Clarity factor is a neurostat. It has the ingredients to help you to concentrate and to be focused at work or at school or even, just daily life. It'll improve your memory over time and improve your cognition. So taking supplements that actually improve the positive neuroplasticity is super important for keeping your brain healthy. Now, the structural and nanosilver lozenges and drops will help to create that barrier and neutralize to keep anything getting into your system. It's very important during the allergy season and the cold season. So you can get it in orange splash and manuka honey, blueberry, honey and lemon, and cherry. So get some lozenges and drops for your household. Get a few bags for your household. It'll help to neutralize and help to create that barrier to maintain a healthy oral pharynx. Now, collagen. Now, joint health is really important to prevent you from preventing you from aging too fast, right? Because what are some of the common things that are happening with people as they get older? They have aches and pains, their joints aren't working as well. You want to reduce that pain. You want to bring down that inflammation. You want to be able to articulate all your joints so you have more mobility. Collagen is a product that I have on my store that will help to remodel the joints and bring down the inflammation. Well, if you're bringing down systemic inflammation, you're bringing down inflammation that has been chronic in certain areas. What that's going to do is it's going to allow your body not to be in stress. Because if you have chronic, let's say arthritis, your cortisol levels are higher. Well, if your cortisol levels are higher, your immune system is down. If your cortisol levels are higher and your immune system's down, you're probably going to get sick more often. Well, if you get sick more often, well, certain things can happen to your other organ systems that can affect your brain. And just overall inflamed body is bad for your brain because what's happening is that your body is building up lots of stress and chemicals that produce these they're cytokines, but these pro-inflammatory cytokines start to flood your bloodstream and it causes inflammation into the brain. Well, that's bad. All right. So if you have anything that's chronic in terms of inflammation, you want to target that. So collagen is going to help you to reduce that inflammation, block some of the pain, reduce the erosion of the joint, and to help build the joint, help build up the cartilage, help build up the cushioning of the joint. And you can stack this with the collagen that I have. So that's a great way to improve and slow down the aging process. Now, soaking up free radicals is super important. It's a major cornerstone of the anti-aging protocol. C60 will soak up free radicals. It's 1,000 times stronger than vitamin C. Now, you can get it in extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, and MCT coconut oil. You can get it in a 2-ounce, a 4-ounce, or an 8-ounce configuration. It's cheaper per ounce to get the higher ounce configuration. Take a teaspoon a day every day. This will improve your skin, improve your immune system, your cardiovascular system, rev up your energy levels, improve your mitochondria, help with your brain function because you're bringing down inflammation, you're soaking up free radicals, you're improving the mitochondria in the brain, in the neuron. And your neuroplasticity, positive neuroplasticity is going to improve. Very important. And it's targeting a lot of different systems, and you'll slow down the aging process. But take a teaspoon a day every day. And it has to be in a lipid, in an oil. That's the reason why C60 is in an oil. Olive leaf extract, dual purpose, brings down inflammation and helps you to control your lipid profile. Well, you're helping your immune system, you're helping your cardiovascular system, and that's going to also help with your brain function. Vitamin C and magnesium helps with the skin, helps with your immune system, helps with brain function. Magnesium is a major, major supplement to take regularly for your brain function. Magnesium and zinc boosts up the immune system, helps with brain function. Magnesium also improves the efficacy of vitamin D3. And vitamin D3 is super important for your cardiovascular health, for your immune system, for your bones. A good probiotic, you can get the powdered version or the Bitchute version. These probiotics are going to bring down inflammation at the gut level, improve the immune system, reduce leaky gut syndrome, reduce the chances of allergies. You're going to be able to absorb your nutrients better. You're going to have a better communication between your gut and your liver and your gut and your brain. And we already said that if you have a good liver, you're going to have better brain function. If you have a good communication between your gut and your brain, you're going to sleep better. And by sleeping better, you're going to be well rested and detoxify your central nervous system. You're going to be consolidating memory. If you don't sleep very well, you're not consolidating memory and you're going to get memory loss. Now, omega-3. Omega-3 is going to help with your cardiovascular health, brings down inflammation, and controls your lipid profile. So you have a better cardiovascular health and you're bringing down that systemic inflammation to help your brain function. Now do you see the importance of the products that I sell? And if you stack them, if you take all of them, that would be awesome. But if you because of affordability, you can stack them in certain ways to be able to get the max benefit. Myotrol helps to build muscle. It has polyphenols, flavonoids, and lignans to be able to build those muscles. When you get older, your gene expression changes. But if you take Myotrol, you're going to be able to build muscle and maintain the muscle and help the health of your mitochondria. So you're going to have better musculature. When you're doing the resistance training, you're also going to get denser bone. And both of those are going to help to protect your neurons because the myokines that are being produced when you're building muscle and the denser bone creates that osteocalcin. So please go to my store and get the Myotrol. It will literally help you build muscle and help with your brain function. Resveratrol. Resveratrol helps with youthful gene expression. It also helps to boost up your energy levels because it's soaking up free radicals and helping the mitochondria. It's getting rid of senescent cells that are just collecting garbage. So if you want youthful gene expression and a better basal layer for your skin, taking resveratrol is really important. And stacking it with C60 is a powerful stack for your basal layer, for your skin. Now, remember what I said about pain. Some people, they may pull a muscle or have a headache, a tension headache, a bruise, a sprain, or even arthritis. By taking super strong relief and applying it topically to the area of pain, it's going to reduce or totally relieve the pain within 90 seconds. Now, this is a great way to kind of keep that pain level down because you don't want that pain level to be too high because the cortisol levels keep on going up and you're creating more pro-inflammatory cytokines in your bloodstream. And I have two other things to show. Boomer Boost. Boomer Boost has 68 nutrients, has a lot of ingredients here that will help to slow down the aging process. It targets several systems. Targets the brain function. You're going to be able to sleep better. You're going to be able to concentrate. You're going to get rid of that brain fog. It's going to help with your taking it regularly. Is going to help to have your neurons reconnect or strengthen the connections. So you'll be thinking faster. You'll have better memory. But Boomer Boost also helps with your cardiovascular health, your musculature, your energy levels will improve, your metabolism will improve, your BMI will improve by taking this, controlling your A1C levels. There's lots of benefits from taking this. And like I said, better cardiovascular health will lead to protecting your neurons. Better musculature will lead to protecting your neurons. More energy. You're more active. When you're more active, that's going to allow you to be experiencing life more. That's going to be very important for your brain. See, a lot of people don't realize that your heart, your lungs, your other organ systems directly affect your brain. So please go to my store and get the Boomer Boost. Another important feature is that there's bi-directional communication or multi-directional communication that's happening in the body. Your brain is communicating with your gut, and your gut is communicating with your brain. Your heart is communicating with your brain, and your brain is communicating with the heart. Your muscles are communicating together. All right? So if those connections aren't healthy, you're going to start having these different organ systems, including your brain, start to decline. So it's important to keep that communication both ways healthy. Now, heirloom barley. Heirloom barley helps to detoxify your body. Why is that important? By getting rid of toxins, your different organ systems are going to perform better. And therefore, your brain function will perform better. You're bringing down inflammation. You're going to be able to recover quicker after a workout. But by bringing down inflammation, you're helping the immune system and the endocrine system and your cardiovascular system, your brain function. Bringing down inflammation is super important. People, because of their diet or because of stress, they have too much inflammation that's leading to tissue destruction or leading to tissues that aren't performing as properly as they should. Soaking up free radicals, super important. It'll help to boost up your energy levels, bring down inflammation, bring down stress. So detoxifying, bringing down inflammation, and soaking up free radicals is a major component on slowing down the aging process and improving brain function. So everything that I just mentioned here, and I have many more products on my store, but the ones that I just mentioned, if you take them regularly, you're going to help slow down the aging process. You will look younger, you will have more vitality, and you're going to improve your brain function. Now, why is this so important? Why do I keep on saying focus on brain, brain, brain? Now, a lot of people have have some sort of immune system issue because of the crisis that we went through in 2020. All right. And I keep on saying, bring down the inflammation, soak up the free radicals, take the proper supplementation that will help to boost up that immune system. All right. But another part of that aftershock is an increase of dementia. There will be people that will be getting dementia earlier because of the crisis. Why? Because of the inflammation, because of the cardiovascular problems that have arisen, because of the immune system problems that have arisen. All right. So if you can keep that inflammation down, if you can boost up some of your other organ systems, you're actually improving your chances of having a healthy brain. Now, the three types of dementia mechanisms, there's different types of dementia. There's Lewy body, there's early onset of Alzheimer's, late onset of Alzheimer's, there's vascular dementia, or another term is ischemic dementia. But the bottom line is there's many types of dementia, but there are some mechanisms. Some are the genetic component to it, but I want to focus more on the amyloidosis and the prion, because that's a little bit more directly related to the crisis that we went through. There are going to be many people, 75% of the ones that get this aftershock from the crisis that we went through. Many people are going to have this early onset of dementia. Now, these individuals, about 30 to 40% of these individuals that are in the population will get some level of early onset of dementia because of the crisis that we went through, if they're of age 40 or older. Now, there are three categories of these 40% of the people out there. 30 to 40% of the people out there, there are three different categories. 75% of the 40% will get vascular problems where the blood flow isn't proper. There's leakiness. So you're going to get microclotting, microbleeding, and that will cause tissue destruction. So the vascular system is the major reason why it's happening, and the high inflammation. Then there is the amyloidosis. All right, and around 25%, a little less, about 24.5%, 24.9% will be getting this amyloidosis, where because of that inflammation, there's going to be more misfolded proteins, a buildup of plaque, a buildup of tau. And what this will do is what's going to happen is the neurons start to die. All right, and this is because of the inflammation causing disruption with the folding of the proteins. But also in the neuron, there are, for some of these individuals, the neurons actually genetically are affected, and it's causing problems with the folding of certain proteins, and there's an accumulation of this plaque, this amyloidosis. Now, a subset of the amyloidosis is what is called prion disease. Now, 0.1% of the population or less of the 40% that will have the aftershock will have a prion disease. All right, which is amyloidosis, but it is an amyloidosis that can be contagious. Right? So you're going to have, this is encephalopathy. So what this basically means is that you're going to have a lot of people in the population that are going to start having brain problems, cognitive problems of all sorts, movement, gait issues, memory, eyesight problems, hearing problems. There's going to be a whole host of problems that are coming off of this aftershock. All right. 75% of the main mechanism is because of vascular. 24.9% of it is because of misfolding of proteins. Now, what could happen is that as these individuals start to progress in their dementia, you'll get more and more misfolded proteins, and then they move into amyloidosis. All right. So just because you're in the vascular reasons for the dementia doesn't mean that you don't go into another category that will lead to further problems. There's a high likelihood of that. You have the inflammation that's starting to build up. You have poor blood flow. You get these microclots. You'll get some of these problems where there's tissue destruction in the brain, and then eventually, what will happen is that there's a buildup of inflammation and debris that's not getting cleared because of a poor vascular system, and then a buildup of amyloid. All right, now, so these patients can be more of a vascular dementia patient that can lead to a amyloidosis patient. Okay, but it's rare. But there's going to be a few people out there, not more than a few, 0.1 or less percent of the 40% that are going to get this aftershock, this dementia aftershock from the crisis we went through, will have some degree of prion disease. All right. So this is the reason why it's so important. Keep the inflammation down, because a lot of people don't know this. The reason why the amyloid is building up is because it has something called a beta sheet. And it's a series of certain amino acids in your protein that, if they're misfolded in a certain way, that the beta sheets can stick together, and they don't get undone, and it's hard to break apart. So as layers of the beta sheets start to accumulate, you start getting this plaque, which the enzymes that we have to break up this start to become less and less effective over time based on the thickness of the plaque. So if it misfolds one and it can catch it, and it's not that big of a deal. But if it's 3 or 4 layers or 5 layers or 9 layers, then it becomes a major problem because our enzymes aren't large enough to break it apart. So there's some research out there that is suggesting that, there are some ways to break that up. But it's better to not have the problem. Now, what causes the amyloidosis? Well, some of it's genetic and epigenetic, and that's lifestyle. But another major component is inflammation. Inflammation disrupts the ability to break up proteins and increases the chances of misfolded proteins. So you're building up the misfolded proteins because of inflammation, and you're disrupting the ability for the body to break up the misfolded proteins. The proteolytic enzymes aren't working as properly. So you want to bring down that inflammation. And when you do that, you're slowing down this process. All right? So I think that I described comprehensively what you need to do. It's proper supplementation, it's proper lifestyle changes. And everything I've been saying for 6 years. You don't believe me? Roll all you got to do is just take a look at the archive. For 6 years, I've been saying you got to bring down inflammation. And it's going to help all these different systems in your body. You need to soak up those free radicals. And like I said, C60 is a major, major part of what I am saying to do. But it's not the only thing. You also have to bring down inflammation by using the lignans and the ashwagandha root and the turmerics. Take the neurostacks, right? You need to boost up that immune system. You want to get proper sleep. You get the good night formula because it has the tryptophan, melatonin, and GABA. But you need to do this holistically, and you take the proper supplementation. You do it regularly. You're going to slow down the aging process, and you're going to protect your brain. from the aftershock of the crisis that we went through. I've also explained on how to protect your body and how to get your body to heal and improve your immune system from the aftershock of the crisis that we went through. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Take my advice. It works, and it slows down the aging process. I'm older than Alex Jones. Now, does Alex Jones look younger than me? Not so much. So maybe you should take my advice and get the Boomer Boost. All right? Maybe you should take my advice and get the ligaments. Maybe you should take my advice and get the minotrol. Maybe you should take my advice because I'm not wrong. Thank you for listening. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. The link is in the description of this video and all my videos. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.